At the start of our conversation, we thought it might be helpful to shape the morning around the being Presbyterian journey so far, just so that we can hear from you about what you see as our priorities moving forward. We're following a kind of roadmap that has a number of stopping off points. They reflect 7 things that we're seeking to affirm, and with each comes a commitment to action in terms of how we resource those that look to being Presbyterian, how we provide an event or host a conference. The starting point was the General Assembly of 2018. And it's interesting looking back on PCI's video of that event. It looks like any other General Assembly, people milling around, general sense of ordinariness about it. But at that assembly, there were certain key decisions that were made that really initiated being Presbyterian. One was formally ending the link with the Church of Scotland and the United Reformed Church. And the second thing was the decision to exclude from membership those who are in same-sex relationships and to refuse baptism to their children. Following that assembly, on the back of the media storm it created, a number of ministers, elders and members of congregations began meeting in different groupings. There was a disquiet felt by many that drew people into deep conversation about what these decisions meant and what could be done to backtrack at best or to rebalance, to bring presence to a Presbyterianism that had more room for debate and dialogue. From these early beginnings, being Presbyterian established an identity through running a number of events and conferences. These will be highlighted later. The first affirmation points to the nature of the Church, reformed and always being reformed. This assertion challenges notions of settled positions, but in terms of actions, our heart is to see the relationships that were severed restored. To that end, in 2020, we invited the Very Reverend Dr. John Chalmers and the Very Reverend Dr. Susan Brown to speak about how the Church of Scotland prepared for and conducted the debate on same-sex issues. The Space for Grace conference was actually the last in-person event we had before the lockdown began in March 2020. The second affirmation speaks to inclusion. Like the painter's palette, there's something creative that happens when new hues and tones are added to a canvas. In terms of acting on this intent, being Presbyterian hosted the first conference in 2019 in the Assembly buildings, when the Reverend Dr. Sam Wells spoke about being an open church. The third affirmation connects with the many women and men in PCI that have found themselves on the hard side of a line or constantly bumping into a glass ceiling. The Presbyterian Church in Ireland is an egalitarian church, and we seek to keep that reality alive and well as we move forward. In terms of action to date, Dr. Sylvia McCracken helped us to understand the cultural backdrop of New Calvinism and unlocked some of the movements that are influencing many in PCI to believe that complementarianism is the Presbyterian position. Looking ahead, being Presbyterian has been invited to pick up the reins of the group Calling Women and have ring-fenced some resources to hopefully focus on this issue in the autumn. In considering the fourth affirmation, it's important to say that the Bible is central to our approach, in particular how our understanding of the text can be enhanced and challenged through the scholarship of others who are engaging with the complexities of the issues on our agenda. Our last event in November 21 with Professor Kathleen O'Connor was an outworking of this affirmation as we sought to bring fresh perspectives and understanding to 3 pivotal Genesis stories around Noah, Sodom, and Joseph. Our fifth affirmation speaks to our denominational structures and to church governance that is transparent and also accountable. Since 2020, though, nothing has been normal about how PCI has been governed, and many decisions that have been made have been difficult to understand and accept. The decisions of 2018 have progressed from consultation papers to guidance, and in the midst of it all, individuals and families have been left vulnerable by limited accountability and opaque procedural mechanisms. Being Presbyterian seeks to speak to this, but in a timely and appropriate way. In terms of action, though, on the website in the resources section, we have posted papers from a range of contributors. One highlights the issue of credible profession, another on Presbyterian polity, and still another on aspects of Reformed traditions. We also have a series of short videos that invite discussion on aspects of being Presbyterian. All of these resources are designed to further conversations and debate, and we encourage you to visit the website and look at what is there. We're on the home straight now with the 6th affirmation, but I have to say it remains a challenge. But there are those on the committee for whom this is a passionate vocation, and we will mark out the coordinates for this issue in due course. But I guess we want you to remember that the current committee is a small group, and we need input from you. We need additional contributors. We need IT skills. We just need more parts of the body to come and supplement the willing hands and feet of the committee. Finally, we arrive at our 7th affirmation, which is inextricably linked with a vision of a church that is rich in diversity, and a church that bears the marks of Christ as it wrestles with what it means to be a follower of Jesus in this time and place. We're in the hands of the potter, who through the Holy Spirit continues the work of creation. And the best bit is we get to be part of this. This then is a summary of the roadmap. These are the stopping off points that identify us as being Presbyterian and mark out what we think we should be doing. But the question is, are we joining up the right coordinates? And that's where we need to hear from you.